Hi guys, Cliff here. Welcome back to the channel. Now, this is the start of a new sort of project. Not new, more of Da Vinci's. But this one is a little bit different insofar as it's a little bit bigger than all the others. And let me show you what I'm talking about. So there it is. It's a 1.5 times bigger, which takes it up to roughly about 72 inch. Which is a nice big size. So look at the depth of these ribs, fantastic. I can't just use the same construction and size of balsa, of course, that I did with the other one, because everything's bigger. So I'm thinking instead of 1/8 balsa, for the ribs I'll use 3/16. For the leading and trailing edges, which were originally 1/4 inch, I'll probably use 3/8 balsa, cut out the pieces. And I'm thinking for the 1/4 inch square main spar, I'll probably use the same thickness wood there. Probably just cut it straight off the edge of the wood. So I'll want a reasonably hard bit of wood. The top bent spar will probably be about 1/4 inch. And that's it really. I'll just make up the pieces, each piece, notching it where I need to, and make it up. The other thing I'm going to do is the question I asked on the community tab the other day about which do you prefer, one wing and turn it over for the other side, or two wings in preference. Interesting answers. One method that I've used before is just to put it up on the window and just trace on the back the salient points for the ribs, etc. The other method is to use tracing paper, lay it down, tracing paper, and just trace it out, and then turn that tracing paper over. Gudgeon suggested that idea, or oil, and I'd forgotten about the oil technique. It's something we used to use many years ago, decades ago, and that is you just wipe oil on the plan, like olive oil or something, very light coat, and it makes the paper transparent. And just for a bit of fun, I'm going to go and do that. I found some British cold pressed rapeseed oil. Any old oil will do, probably 3-in-1 will do, any old oil. So I've wiped it on the back, and this is what you get transparent paper, so you can see on the back, and it's not oily, greasy, it's such a thin coat, and it dries, just soaks in once it's done, but you can see clearly the wing the other side. So that's probably a pretty good method, actually. Very nearly as clear as the other side, but it makes the paper transparent. I don't know how it works, but there it is. You can see clear. It's like tracing paper now. Look, you can see everything underneath it. I've got a fantastic idea for colour scheme for this one, and it's going to look amazing and really suit it. So that's the project. I'm going to go and buy what I need this morning and make a start, and I'll see you all in a minute, I guess. Yeah, see you in a minute. Right guys, there we go. A lovely pile of balsa wood and carbon. That's for another project, which I'll put to one side. Let's pop it over there, actually, my long carbon area. Right, what have I bought? I bought some 3/8 or 10mm balsa for the leading, trailing edges and main spar, and some 3/16 balsa for the wing ribs. And I've run out of 1/16 ply, so I bought a piece of 1/16 ply for the dihedral brace. So here we are. So where to start, eh? Where to start, Cliff? Fantastic. A new project. I might start with the wing ribs, actually. Okay, so I'll knife that one out. Obviously this puts a lot of time on a kit build. If you're building from the plan, it takes a lot longer, but to be honest, what's the rush? And you get that little bit more sense of satisfaction knowing that you've built it yourself completely from scratch. Because I'm holding the block flat, and this is on the wood, it's got to be 90 degrees, which is Makes for a nice straight edge. It does look a big chunk of balsa actually. I'm wondering now if I ought to put holes in it. Okay, I'm happy with that now. So what we're going to do now is to think about a couple of holes. And the way I make holes is to cut them out, drill them out, and then get the Dremel in there and clean them up. Now, is this not a sight to gladden the eyes? A kit, not laser cut, Clifford cut. What I've got here, I decided to put the holes in the wing ribs. I couldn't let them go without. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start placing the components in their required position. Oh, yeah. Okay, look at that, look, what a fit that is. Is that one just as good? Oh, that's it then. That one goes to that, that's a nice fit, so let's start working our way around. This is end grain, so I'm going to put lots of glue on it because it's going to soak in a bit. Put that in there. All of the Da Vinci's make up the same way. By design. Mind you, it has taken a bit to hone it, hasn't it? Mentioned it before, but I'll say it again. Put the pins in at an angle. If you put them straight down, the balsa will lift up. That's the framing then, guys. Tomorrow I'll get some more 3/8 and cut a main spar. I can lay the main spar in, then I can lay the ribs in. Okay, I've got a bit of 11mm roughly square. I'm just going to drop it in there. Beveled the end to fit. It's end grain, so I'm going to put lots on. The other thing I've done, I've just put a little dot on the top, just in case I turn it over and everything goes back to front. It's nice when you see the glue squeeze out like that. That tells you you've done a good job. So the first rib is going to go there. I've just wiped the glue off the end up my elbow. Oh, Cliff. Put that in there. I'm being careful what I press on here because obviously the rib's quite weak where the holes are. And make sure it's fully down and the ribs lined up. It's not a laser fit, but it's pretty good for hand cutting. Pretty good. Okay, that's one in. I'm going to put the rest in and then I'll come back to you. Now I'm going to cut a bit of 1/4 inch square and steam it around, and then I'll mark the positions. I've got one in already. That was the reason I haven't cut them, is because I want to see exactly where they're going to fall. just bent it over the steam, and I'm just going to sand this end a bit just to get it to sit down nicely on the wingtip. Just a tiny little bit more off the heel. That's good. Rest will sound in. As with all the Da Vinci flies, this rib is quite low. It's nearer this height than that height, so you've got to pin it down like that, and it gives it that lovely sort of bent in shape. All right, that's the top spar in. I've cut this little one here that goes on the top. Let's begin the unpinning procedure. If the pin's gone through the wood, then hold it down when you pull it out. So there's a danger if the pin has got glue on it that you'll glue the pin to the wood and you'll just rip it off the frame. So it's a good habit to get into, just holding it down it regardless. There we are, all pins out bar one more, and that's it. Quick check, all looks good. Right, here we go. Look at the hat. Oh, that's a big wing, sir. Oh, look at that. When the other one's side by side, this is going to look absolutely amazing. So I was thinking about flapper-ons, winger-ons. Anyway, but I just think there's going to be so much play in it, and there's such big surface, I don't think it's a starter. So I'm going to put ailerons on. I'm going to leave these ribs in and cut down here and cut down there, and put a piece of wood at the back. Yeah. There's one, and the other one's going to be here. So it's going to be a big aileron. So small movement, big aileron. All right. Now I've got to cut these here. There we are. One aileron. See? It's a snug fit because I'm pushing the ribs out slightly. Only slightly though. Maybe not enough to actually make a lot of difference. So we'll leave that there then. So that's going to glue in there like that. So if I now mark the tops of there, okay, let's have a look, see what we've got. Okay, that's okay. Obviously it's got to be angled along the top to match the rib, but I can do that when the aileron is built. Cut those ribs down by the look of it, well, the thickness of that of course, and plus the thickness of the leading edge of the aileron. Just had a thought actually, I could top hinge this, as long as the top hinge didn't go past here. This bit couldn't be hinged. No, it could actually, because you could hinge it down level with the other hinges. You'd have to angle the top though to allow it to come up on that section. What I think I will do is to put a spacer in there like that and like that. That's going to allow for the gap, you see. This bit of the build might be more interesting than any of it, I would think. The components of an aileron are very basic. Okay, so look. we'll glue that together, and then when it's all set I can sand it all to profile and we can think about hinging. That doesn't look too bad. Okay guys, all the parts are cut out. Well, nearly. I haven't done the diagonals, going to do those afterwards. So an exciting moment, always an exciting moment, starting a new construction. And the construction is the tailplane for the 1.5 times size Da Vinci Flyer. And overnight I kind of had a good idea vis-a-vis the fuselage. I think I know what I'm going to do now. Right, so what I'm going to do on this is, obviously it's a V-tail, so I'm not going to glue together the two inside pieces. That would be very silly. When you've got a little piece like that, you can take a piece of scrap. Instead of putting a pin there and maybe denting it, you can put a piece of wood on there like that, push it in nice and hard and do that. That acts as a protector for the wood. These two gussets are slightly different angles. When I pin them out, I very cunningly put a double pinhole in this piece and a single pinhole in this piece, so as I knew which piece went in which side. Look at that. Look at that. It's lovely. 2 or 3 hours have passed, probably longer. 4 in fact. So we're going to pop this off and see what we've got. And that's it. Okay, best part, here we go. Let's just put these little bits to one side before we put them in the bin. Ready? Here we go. Let's just more stuff to sand. Got the wings to sand. So that's the wings and tailplane done. Next thing is the fuselage.